Hi and welcome. I'm Dave Mullard. I'm Business Development Manager at Crosby Straightpoint, and today we're looking at our Insight software, which is a piece of Windows software which can connect to up to 126 Crosby Straightpoint load cells simultaneously. So we're going to do a quick walkthrough as to the main features. When you order Insight software, you'll receive it with a USB dongle, and you'll see down here that I've already connected that dongle, so it says USB connected. Now, the first thing to do is to go onto the load cell database here on the top menu, and we want to scan for our wireless load cells. So this will just find any wireless load cells that are within range, and you'll see that populates quite quickly. This is much easier than clicking add because that requires you to do it manually. So scan wirelessly and then click stop. So here are the load cells we've found. Next, we want to click on Project Setup, and in here we're going to go New Project, and we're going to call this My Test Project, and let's say as a description it's going to be a multi-point lift. Then some settings, you can choose different display units, you can choose a different logging interval. This is in milliseconds, so 5,000 is logging every 5 seconds. Let's change that to 1,000, so logging every 1 second. Here we have the logging type, so we can choose continuous, so logging every 1 second, manual, where we click a button on screen to take one log, at alarm, so when we reach a certain threshold we'll get one log from the load cell, or while in alarm, so while we're in the alarm condition it will continuously log while that's the case. Next, we've got the overload percentage. So this is the percentage at which, instead of displaying the actual load on the load cells in tons, for example, it will just show overload. So you can set this to whichever percentage you like, or if you set that as 0, then it overrides that setting and it will just show the value on the load cells. Now we want to add some load cells, so let's click on New. And you'll see here in sensor, the load cells that we scanned and found are now available to choose. So let's click on load cell 3. Now you can change the description down here, so if you didn't want to call that DD3, then you could call it Northwest load cell. Then let's add the next load cell, DD1 this time, and we'll say this is the 5-ton crane that this one's on. Then next load cell, DD4. You could call this one Jim. And then finally, red crane. We'll call this one as the last one. Now you'll see we've also got the option to choose some overload alarms. So we can choose a low alarm for underloads, or 2 high alarms. Let's put on this red crane, so load cell 2 red crane, we're going to put an alarm, a high alarm if we reach 15 tons, and a second alarm if we reach 20 tons. Now we're going to set these as non-latching alarms, so once we come back under those values the alarm will just switch off. So save that, and then let's click on load cell displays, and you'll see that our screen has now divided into showing the 4 load cells that we've added. And if we click start, then we'll start to get, it will wake up the load cells and we'll start to get readings from those load cells. So on red crane, you'll remember we set an overload alarm at 15 tons. So if we cross that, there we go, that triggers the first alarm, and then we set a second alarm at 20 tons. So let's see if we can trigger the second alarm. And we set those as non-latching alarms, So when we come back under those, they switch off. So that's very simply how to set up some of those load cells. But let's say we're in charge of a site and we want to see exactly what's going on that site. Well, to get something a bit more representative, if we click here on the menu visualization, here we can choose our load cells, but we could take a photo of our load cell site. So let's take this one from a previous Crosby straight point lift, and then you can overlay these load cell displays over the actual lifting points that you're using. But again, you've got those overload alarms that you can view and keep track of as well. Now, if we wanted to log from the load cells, so as soon as we're doing our live lift, we could click log start, and that will be logging at whatever rate we set up in the project setup. So in this case, we'll be logging every 1 second from those load cells. So we go log start, and then at the end we could go log stop, and you'll find a CSV file will have been saved on your computer in this directory shown here. So that very simply is how to set up some new load cells, how to create a visualization and set some overload alarms. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that's been helpful.